All right, so here's the situation. You've got your protocol situated where estradiol is at 27 picograms per milliliter. Okay, very reasonable place to be. It's actually oftentimes the sweet spot for ET. DHT, though, is at 70 nanograms per deciliter. Okay, that is high normal. It's almost supraphysiologic. You got functional testicles, okay, so check on all the things necessary for sexual function on TRT, and you have neurosteroidal support with DHEA. I mean, you've got all the boxes ticked there, but still you have some degree of ED on TRT. Now, a protocol to get you there would be something like 130 milligrams of tescipionate a week. You do that every day or every other day, however that breaks down. 100 IU HCG daily, 20 milligrams DHA daily. So you have that protocol, which looks great. It looks great on paper, but you still have sexual dysfunction. What the heck is going on here? What I have seen from a coaching perspective is that these individuals, these unlucky individuals, need supraphysiologic DHT. They need higher levels of DHT. Even though they're in the high normal range, man, their DHT is technically high normal. It's up there. It's high. They still need more. And the reason they need more is to support penile vasculature. What I want to do in this video is emphasize that is the case for some people, okay? You're confused about your protocol. You're not dialed in. The numbers look perfect, but your erection quality is subpar. Okay, I have verified there are cases like this where people just need more DHT. All right, so I want to emphasize that. I want to talk about why this happens and then run through protocols on what to do. Sit back, grab a beer, strap in. Let's get into it. All right, before we start the video, Low Cortex Labs, which is my company, is a TRT guidance and sexual dysfunction resolution company, just recently launched its Mastering Libido and Erections on TRT. This is the official sexual function playbook for guys that are on TRT, HRT, dialing in long esters, prop, cream, DHT on TRT, perfecting the DHT E2 axis. This is now live, boys. Every ester, every protocol, every hybrid, exogenous DHT, go get it. LiveCortex.com is 20% off. Sourceless, if you need access to anything you can think of, including DHT itself, just get Sourceless. That's also 20% off. And lastly, I'm a coach on TRT. I fix sexual dysfunction, libido, and erection issues. You can hire me in under a minute. LiveCortex.com. We're on the fact-finding call as soon as the next day. 3 and 6 month packages are 30% off right now. So look, these situations aren't really hard to find on Reddit. Here's one of them. Anyone else have good numbers but no improvement on ED issues? Have any of you dialed into good numbers but found no improvement in erections? This guy's trough on E2 is 27, right? Total T is 670. So the peak is going higher, but when it's sitting at 27, like erectile function should be present, but it's not. Now, this is where I want to caution people against getting weird ideas like from the internet and from forums. People are going to think like, oh, maybe it's dopamine. I need to take some Mucuna purines or some cabergoline or something. It's usually not dopamine. I mean, dopamine is not the sole driver of erections. It's not the sole driver of libido. It's much more complicated than that. Now, here's another peculiar one where DHT is actually on the low end, but everything else looks great. I mean, this guy's on TRT. Total T is 745. 745, right? I mean, that would put estrogen usually in a reasonable place. E2's at 21. Reasonable place. But where's DHT? 30 nanograms per deciliter. Okay, ref range 30 to 85. He's on the low end. He's basically deficient in DHT. That's going to cause erectile dysfunction. Now, this guy started at 140 milligrams a week, trouble getting dialed in. Okay, so got the blood work done on 112 milligrams a week, injecting every day. Okay, 16 milligrams a day. Total test, 914. Free test, 20 nanograms per deciliter. SHBG 31, that's fine. Estradiol 33. That should be fine. Still problems. Needs higher DHT. All right, so let's look at the protocol that I discussed in the beginning. You have 130 milligrams of tescipionate. You're breaking that down into daily intramuscular injections with a 5/8-inch needle. You have 100 IU of HCG a day, and you got 20 milligrams of DHEA per day. Okay, so you have neurosteroidal support, you have functional testicles, you have E2 in this case lands at 27, and DHT at 70. Now that's pretty high DHT for that dose. It's usually going to fall around 45 or 50 or so, but just say it's at 70. You'd look at that and go, everything is literally perfect. I have high DHT between 55 and 90, and E2s between 20 and 35. Like maybe it's neurological, maybe it's porn, maybe it's I need to go on NoFap. Nonsense. None of that stuff's going to help you. Why is this happening? All right, let's talk through the possible reasons that you could actually need supraphysiologic levels of DHT despite already having high normal and not having good erectile function. All right, number one, your exogenous DHT support, which in this case would be testosterone cypionate, is not as powerful when you make it endogenously from the conversion, the peripheral conversion via 5-alpha reductase isoenzymes into DHT as your DHT from your own gonads. In other words, and this phenomenon has been discussed before by other people, prominent people in the TRT space. Your exogenous testosterone, you're producing a lot on the bloods. The lab values look like you have high DHT, but that DHT is not as potent at the tissue level, at the receptor level, at the gene level than your regular endogenously born, natty DHT. That's one possible reason. Why would that be the case? I don't know. I honestly don't know. Maybe your endogenous DHT that you produce naturally is more bioidentical, more bioavailable, more potent at the androgen receptor, more potent at the gene expression level. This hasn't been studied, so nobody knows, but those are the possible reasons. And could that be true? That you just need more DHT to equal the equivalent of what on the bloods as a natty would be lower DHT, like 50 nanograms per deciliter or 45 nanograms per deciliter? The answer to that is yes, that is possible. So that could be the reason. Second reason, unknown. Purely and simply, in order to have good sexual function, specifically erection quality on TRT, you need higher local DHT signaling in the penis. Our male organs are dominated by DHT. DHT does so much, from supporting the endothelium to optimizing the smooth muscle content to preventing collagen and fat deposition in the cells. DHT is the active androgen in the maintenance of nitric oxide mediated penile erections. It's DHT, it's purely DHT. So we should really skip to the third reason, which is the same. You just need supraphysiologic DHT, but the reason that you need supraphysiologic DHT on TRT is due to prolonged DHT starvation. I mean, if you were hypogonadal for a while, DHT starvation. If you were hyperprolactinemic for a while, DHT starvation, and a marked inhibition of the 5-alpha reductase enzymes, which we know the literature supports prolactin does. Remember, too, if you're starved of DHT for a while, we see this in the finasteride literature in these folks that are stricken with the terrible disease of post-finasteride syndrome. You undergo collagen deposition in the penis where smooth muscle is supposed to be. Adipocyte, fat cell infiltration where smooth muscle is supposed to be. Therefore, you get a reduction in those smooth muscle cells and you have ED as a result of that. DHT starvation, in other words, can necessitate higher DHT on TRT because you were starved of DHT for so long and you've atrophied the male organ. This is essentially a situation in which penile rehab via DHT and possibly 10 milligrams Cialis a day is necessary. Now, if that's the case, could you just go supraphysiologic on DHT and then 6 months later you've restored homeostasis? Well, we don't really know. Typically, in my experience, it takes a lot longer than that. EQ's dialed in once you get enough DHT. It's dialed in almost immediately. But you can't just go back down to 70 nanograms per deciliter. You got to stay at 130 or 150 nanograms per deciliter, supraphysiologic DHT, for 3 straight years. Why? Well, maybe you need to reverse that damage of the collagen deposition, the adipocyte infiltration, the reduction in the function of the endothelium. You need effective rehabilitation for a long time via DHT of the penis. Then eventually, theoretically, the health of the vasculature of the penis returns to a good homeostatic norm, and you're good to go and can tolerate lower DHT then. So all that said, let's talk about the practical applications of this. What do you do if you need more DHT? You're already at 70. A2's in range, you still have some degree of erectile dysfunction. What do you do? On that cypionate protocol of 130 milligrams a week, 100 IU-HCG a day, 20 milligrams of DHEA per day, you would do one of two things. Number one, you would add a click a day to the scrotum of 100 milligram per milliliter or 25 milligrams per click transscrotal testosterone cream to support rising DHT. Right, you probably bump the DHT up in that case, minimally 25, max 75 to 80 nanograms per deciliter. That takes you into the supraphysiologic range of 150 or so. You fix the erectile dysfunction without substantially increasing estradiol. You might end up at 35. Second thing you can do in that case is add a milligram of DHT to the scrotum in a transdermal formulation every day or every other day, like as I've harped about or spoken about ad nauseum. Right? You get the 20% DHT gel. You ask ChatGPT how to reconstitute it. You measure how many drops are in a full dropper so that Chat understands exactly how much each dropper is. given that it's a 20% concentration, it will tell you, okay, mix, take a separate dropper vial, mix 8 milliliters of MCT oil in it and 2 milliliters of your 20% DHT, and you'll get it reduced down to 1 milligram per drop. You can get it pretty close. I've done it personally. I've helped clients do it. It does work. Then you don't have to have any more aromatizable substrate like an extra click of cream or more cypionate or more a prop or whatever or hybrid. You're giving yourself the raw DHT to get you up there in the supraphysiologic ranges. Now here's the problem. Sounds great, right? You do that, you will restore sexual function. Erection quality on TRT is not hard to crack. It's about having enough DHT, and that sometimes has to be higher than high normal, and estrogen not overcrowding, the androgen function in the penis. But you might have a little hair loss. Okay. You might have some hair thinning. You might have some actual hair loss. And in that case, it's like you have a choice to make. But, like, do you want to go back to a natty where you can only work out 4 days a week and you're generally kind of lethargic? You don't have that strong androgen driven assertive drive, and you're not muscular. You're not like vascular lean and able to put on lean tissue easy, but you have your hair. But at the same time, you end up with like some degree of erectile dysfunction still. Would you rather have that, or would you rather be a stoic, centered, calm, assertive alpha with a functional penis, libido that's raging, and some degree of hair loss? At that point, that's the risk you run. Let's talk about cream, because this can actually happen on cream in susceptible individuals that need a lot higher DHT, especially when their E2 threshold is kind of narrow, where if they go to like 40 or so picograms per milliliter, they're going to have ED no matter how much DHT they have. So they got to keep this in a tight window. They're running 5 clicks of 100 milligram cream. DHT's up there at 90 to 125 nanograms per deciliter, but they need slightly more DHT to support erectile quality. That's a hard one. Because you go up in cream, to get more DHT, it's just strictly transscrotal. You are going to increase some aromatization because some of that testosterone, the test peaks right away on cream, and then it converts to DHT, by hour 6 or so. But in the meantime, you get some aromatization. So in that case, you just have to find the balance, right? You got to teeter-tatter on that edge where it's like too high E2, ED no matter what, but you need enough substrate to produce enough DHT. So you just make fine-tune adjustments until you get in that safe spot. Again, though, in that case, this is rare that this even needs to happen, but you could just use exogenous DHT as well. Just on the scrotum, 1 milligram a day or every other day. You'll get the DHT and you won't increase aromatization. So there, you're good to go. Look, the bottom line is this, boys. I've seen everything under the sun. Like, I'm kind of the guy that gets the fringe cases. Like, over the years, like all these people having problems on Reddit and they're coming to me for coaching. The numbers will look fine. You'll be high normal DHT, dude. Estrogen's at 27. This again gets people thinking, well, maybe it's like oxytocin, or they start to nasal spraying oxytocin. They get all lovey because that's the bonding hormone, but they still have ED. DHT is always the solution to these problems, I have come to learn. Those are the reasons why, and I'll end with this statement. Even if you're in range, even if you're high normal DHT, estrogen's in range, things aren't great, you might need more DHT. Some men truly have to have supraphysiologic levels of DHT on TRT. That's just the bottom line. Hope that helps. All right, boys, as I said in the beginning, and look, I've got discounts this week going into the weekend for product. Mastering Libido and Erections on TRT breaks all of this stuff down, but it's situated with protocols that factor all of this in. What's really perhaps the most valuable aspect of this is dialing in on long esters. There is a decision tree. Dude, if you're at any point in trying to dial in cypionate or enanthate and you're having erectile issues, libido issues, or otherwise, the long ester decision tree shows you what to do. This is 7 years of coaching experience infused into a sexual function playbook for libido and erections on TRT. I couldn't make it any better, boys. Downloadable digital guide. You get it right away. Instant access. It's 20% off too. Code's on the screen. Go take advantage of it. Source list. Hey, look, sometimes you have to go at it alone and get stuff like DHT. If you need to do that, just get source list. Not to mention, though, anything else you can think of literally is on there. That's also 20% off livecortex.com. If you need to dial in strictly on cream and don't want to go get the whole playbook, just get Mastering Testosterone Cream for Libido and Erections. That is a video course. Lastly, I'm a coach on TRT. All I deal with, 100% of my inquiries are sexual dysfunction on TRT. Trying to get the tight balance of DHT, E2 right in the right range for people. I fix libido and erection problems on TRT. I am a professional at it. I take it very seriously, and you can hire me in under a minute at livecortex.com. Right now, the 3 and 6 month one-on-one protocol engineering coaching packages are 30% off. Okay, been thinking about doing it now. It's absolutely time. Codes on the screen and down the description of this video. All right, my brothers in test, thank you for being with me for another one. Yet another one. Like the video, makes a huge difference. Honestly, boys, I just did a live stream about how we need to get this information further out to people. If you're watching this video, and I'm just going to say it, and you're not hitting the like button, I don't want you watching anymore. Please hit the like button. I need you to do that. Otherwise, sub to the channel. If you're new here and you like what we said, there's plenty more in the past and much more to come. We're breaking it down scientifically on this channel. I'd love to have you on board. Otherwise, kick ass, rock on, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll talk to you boys on the next one.